We're live.
Hey everyone, welcome to the first episode of the AMN Podcast. My name is Vinny from Advanced Media, and joining me today is Mike. Okay, we got Super Metal Dave. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi.
Who are you?
That works, you know.
Everyone knows you. He's like PewDiePie, right?
No. Thanks for having me on. Anyway, go on.
Yeah. Let's go. Nate from Nintendo Prime.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Nathaniel Rebel Jams from Nintendo Prime. Based on the crowd I'm seeing in the chat, almost all of you know who I am. But I've been advertising this thing like mad the last day, so.
Oh yeah.
Okay. We have Joe Ferris.
That's me, and I represent 14,000 different outlets. I'm just kidding. A lot of you may know me from my work on Commonwealth Realm, but I also do the stuff for nukethefridge.com as well as my own channel, Ferris Wheel Pro. So yeah, that's me.
Yeah, you do have you do work for a lot of channels, don't you?
Yeah, I don't recommend doing that.
Yeah, I'm sure a tough schedule.
Yeah.
And then we have Matt, Dreamcast guy.
Hi. Happy to be here. We've been hyping this up for a while, so I'm so happy that the day is finally here.
It's come at
Yeah,
last.
finally after like 8 months of delaying, I finally got this off the ground. All right, this week there was quite a lot to discuss. There was a lot of gaming news.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of things. I mean, E3 rumors have kind of been kind of slow this year.
Yeah.
Well, not rumors, but leaks, should I say?
Exactly. And I think that's because E3 is not going to be that big of a show this year. I think that's one of the reasons why. I would like to be wrong, and I would like to think leakers have finally just shut up and just let people be surprised. But we know they don't have that much of a heart, so who knows?
Yeah.
I hope you're wrong about that, though, because I am going to E3, so I do want to hopefully have some kind of good stuff to play. I mean, there's always stuff to play at E3. There's always something worth playing. Final Fantasy VII Remake, obviously.
Hell yes. That's a shocker.
I wish I could have gone there this year just to play that. But,
yeah, same here.
Yeah, I know you're probably the biggest Final Fantasy VII fan here, Max.
I think part of it is less leaks. I think that it's just a matter of everybody's gotten better at being tight-lipped, so there's less leaks. And yeah, I do think we have to kind of acknowledge the fact that this is going to be a lot smaller. I think Sony not being there is big. I think Nintendo's been doing even more directs. There's just not as much to leak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, well, with Sony not being there, it's I guess you could say it's like 1/3 of the show is kind of taken away from us.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Because they are technically, I mean, not counting the third-party games, the big three. I mean, I guess Google is.
Google's doing whatever Google's doing.
Yeah, if today's
they sure made their impression today, huh?
Right.
Sure did.
And there was somebody online today that said that their thermostat was hooked up to Google. What was it called? Nets? Oh, I forgot the name
Google,
of it.
I thought it was called Google Home, right? Or Google, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, they couldn't turn on their AC because of Google being down. Can you believe that?
So Google could actually kill people if things go wrong.
Yeah,
excellent.
Just don't have a smart home. I mean,
the machines are taking over, man.
Yeah, can you imagine like a nursing home or like a hospital, all smart devices hooked up, and all of a sudden Google fails, and
they forget it.
Yeah, and they have to call on emergency personnel. I mean, that's
they have to go back to the Stone Age of actually knowing how to do things.
Yeah, so it doesn't give me a lot of faith in Stadia just yet. It's just the internet backbone is. I mean, they have a good infrastructure, but the backbone can be finicky, and that's just going to cause major issues with people. I mean, if you're paying for this, you want to be able to play anytime. I mean, yes, obviously there will be outages. You get, PlayStation goes down, Xbox Live goes down, but like I mean, you can play those offline, but Stadia you can't. So if Google goes down,
I think Stadia's biggest problem is just how are you even going to advertise this? Like, nobody likes to admit this, but casual gamers are a huge part of the market. Like Madden, FIFA, stuff like Call of Duty, those are actually what sell a ton of Xboxes and PS4s. Those are not games you're going to be playing on a Stadia. You are never going to have Stadia on a Google thing.
No. I don't mind outages though, but if it's affecting something like a streaming service and we're just going to be out now, too bad for 4 hours. Like, no, you can't do that, especially if it's unannounced. If you have a planned outage, that's also something different. They didn't plan this though.
Yeah, and just it being online, I mean, you have nowhere to fall to if that's your only system to play. I mean, I guess you would have a PC, but you can play on your PC, regular games, but.
Well, see, I think it's like anything else, though. I mean, Netflix has outages too. So, I mean, people with streaming services already, heck, we have outages of internet in our own homes from ISPs. None of us really expect it to be available 100% of the time. And there's always going to be people getting angry that at 9 p.m. on a Friday, it crashed or whatever and it's down for an hour. We see that with Xbox Live and PlayStation Network too. So I don't really know that it's going to be any worse than what we already experience. We already get outages. Nintendo just sometimes goes down too, unannounced. And all of a sudden, it's scheduled maintenance that wasn't scheduled.
And when scheduled maintenance happens, people are like, "Oh, look at this! Mother 3 confirmed. Coming to the eShop right now."
Yeah, see, I think the key, it's going to come down to pricing. I think, to be honest, I mean, a lot of us could be like, kind of laugh off, "Oh, all these things are down because we can play our games offline," but we also pay a lot for each one of those games. If you buy them at launch, $60 a pop. That's a lot of money. But if Google Stadia is coming in at like World of Warcraft prices, $15 a month, that's how you get people to get into it. That's like Netflix level of pricing. Like people don't mind the downages when you're only paying $15.
I mean, I guess with that kind of service, it's going to be built into your mind. There's going to be downtimes every now and then. So I guess what you're signing up for now. At least what you're signing up for when you're going to, if you're investing in Google Stadia, that sometimes it's just not going to work.
Yeah. Well, and lineup's key too.
Oh yeah, that.
I mean, if all the big AAA are in on that day one, and I mean, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to tell people, oh, there's too many games. I can't afford them all this year. Yeah, but for like $100 a year, I have all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, you really, Google has a lot of clout and a lot of money, so
yes, they do.
They can always, persuade developers to put games on their platform. But do you guys really think it's going to be? You think they're going to start off with a decent lineup, or
I don't. I've heard conflicting reports. Some stuff makes it sound like they're going to have some decent games, but I've also heard there may only be like 5 or 6 exclusives. And who even knows? Because exclusive is so wide ranging. Like exclusives could be Uncharted, or exclusives could be like, oh look, it's this little game where you catch fish.
Well, I don't like. I guess I'm kind of on the optimist side of the whole thing. Is I don't really care about exclusives. When I got Netflix subscription, they didn't have exclusives. I didn't give a crap about that.
Right. Good.
I cared about all the other stuff I don't have to pay money for anymore. Like I can't afford to go buy $20, $30 Blu-rays for every movie I want to watch or every TV collection. But here I can get it all in. Well, at the time it was all in one place. Now it's spread all over and all these different. And that's going to happen in gaming too, I assume. Where it's going to get spread all over different services. But like we know Ubisoft's already on board with it because they were literally at the reveal. So that's one major. I don't know if they're bringing everything. Of course, we don't know. They haven't announced games yet, but I guess we'll find out on the 6th, right? That's when it's happening.
Yep.
Is that the date? Yeah, I think that was the date.
Yeah, I'm the same like you, Nate. I don't really care about the exclusives. What I would like to see is the performance of it. Like if it works really good, what the button lag is. If you can really play Doom Eternal at 4K at 60 with almost no button lag, I'm really curious to see if that's going to work. Really.
Yeah, I doubt the 4K claims. At least with the lag. Like I played their testing of it last year and it was great. I played it on PC. I did it on a really crappy laptop at McDonald's Wi-Fi, and then I did it at home where I have a business line internet, and it was like perfectly playable. Yeah, more lag than I get just playing locally on my PC, but my PC has less lag than playing on the Xbox. So that it was what I would say is acceptable levels. Granted, that was a single player game, so it's going to be the massive multiplayer experiences. I'm curious how they make that work. Now, let's watch MMOs. MMOs, I think everyone's used to lag in MMOs, but like the Rocket Leagues and stuff like that. Like, how are they going to reduce the latency and that kind of stuff?
It's weird. It's weird though, because at their presentation, at the little demos they had lag right there on their show floor.
Right? Yeah, they did.
I mean, I don't know. It's like a case by case scenario. Like, today this service sucks. Okay, now it's not worth the money. Oh, tomorrow it's great, and now it's worth the money.
And the scary thing is they were using Google Fiber there, so like.
Oh yeah.
But it always sucks when you're doing it on a stage presentation. Like everyone's using that damn Wi-Fi, but that I just want to know if they know the difference between RPGs and NPCs. That line killed me.
That's good.
That actually reminds me. What was Skyward Sword was showing off on stage, and it just
that was a cluster.
Oh my god! I think that's what made Nintendo now. I think that's what convinced Nintendo to not do live anymore.
I'm sure it was. I was there that E3, and it was.
I don't think it ever bounced back reputation-wise.
Oh my god, we were all cracking up. Like we tried to keep it. Everyone was trying to keep a straight face, and it just.
This worked in rehearsle.
Oh, yeah, but it was like nobody watching, nobody
exactly
around the seats, and then you fill an auditorium indoors with
everyone, all the wireless interference,
Bill Trent's all, hey, look at this 1-to-1 motion, and it's like, it's not
this way, and the sword goes off the screen. It's like, oh my god.
And I think we're all kind of hitting on why I think E3 is sort of dying out. It's not that the gamers aren't there and the gamers are excited. It's that these companies don't want to risk it anymore. Like a bad presentation can kill a game. So it's weird that Sony's not there, but simultaneously with how many tens of millions of dollars they spent last year to have a dude on a stage playing a flute, like it's pretty understandable why they didn't want to pay that up again.
Maybe they should make good conferences then instead of just pulling out and being a coward.
It sounded like a big disconnect between their consumers and what they want to do. They're trying to be all creative and like having like an intermission after showing one game after we just watched a musical performance for 15 minutes, then 45-minute that just was not a good decision.
Yeah, it was good for like the 45 people there sitting in the stands or whatever, 100 people.
Was it even good for them? They had to move. They had to literally move into a different area.
I'm just assuming it'd be better for the people to like say, okay, guys, now we're moving this stage and do that. But for us watching on the internet, no, that was terrible.
That was so bad. Like 5 minutes into that thing, I was like what's going on? Yeah. Why?
Well, that's the thing. That's one reason why I actually like, because there's all this talk, with Sony not being there, that E3 is less important, which I get. I mean, it's a third of the industry, if not more, because they're the most popular platform on the market right now. But they're also heading into a next generation, and they're doing the state of plays, kind of filling the gaps in. Kind of, they're sort of Nintendo Directs or Nintendo Minis, however you want to comp them. But like Nintendo kind of said, hey, look, the way I view what they did is how I think a lot of companies should start looking at it as, don't look at E3 as just about the dang press conference. Like, what they did is they actually almost made E3 more important for them. They said, look, it's not just about this 45-minute slot anymore. We're gonna cut that 45 minutes down to a half hour, pre-recorded, so nothing's screwed up, right? When we show you our games to the biggest audience that, according to Reggie, anyways, when he was president, he said it's the biggest audience they have of the year. So when they have that big audience, they want everything to work perfectly, and then we're going to be in an even more controlled environment with all of our controllers wired with Treehouse. And we're going to stream. We're going to show you these games for 3 straight days. And other companies have tried replicating that, but it doesn't feel like they necessarily connect. Like EA, God, they've been trying to do with EA Play, and they don't seem to understand how to connect to their own fan base. And Nintendo kind of figured it out with Treehouse. Maybe it's just the personalities or the presentation style. But I wish, like, if Sony could have did that last year, because they tried, sort of. It was a really weird streaming presence they had during E3. I don't know what. I guess it kind of matched their entire press conference. To be honest, I guess consistent. They were consistently bad at showing their own games. But
Sure, it's something.
I don't know. I just think that E3 is less important in terms of I don't think any company needs E3 anymore.
I mean, a lot of business is conducted there too. It's not just them showing off games.
That's behind the scenes. Yeah.
That's
A lot of networking.
What was that?
A lot of networking.
Lots of networking. So
there's a lot of
also
developer meetings behind with the publishers and everything, getting things ready, planning for the holidays, all that kind of stuff that we don't see.
Retailers meet up with a lot of people there too, and get some stuff done. So like they're like that's all not front facing. That obviously gamers don't care about. They just care. They look at E3 as, we want console announcements, we want new game announcements, and I don't think that you're going to get as many of that moving forward. But I don't know that it lessens it as much as people shifts the focus, because there's not a lot of big events throughout the entire year where you have all of these big companies kind of getting together. Like Sony's not there, but look at all the companies that are still participating, and you don't get that really anywhere else. So really it's kind of neat. Like, and now it's become like a 2-week event. I mean,
practically. Yeah.
But I do like the idea of having multiple events throughout the year, all throughout the year from other companies. The Sony and Xbox doing their Xbox whatever thing for an hour and a half, which is too long, but 2
hours.
2 hours.
No, I mean, you know how they do their Xbox thing every month?
What's
it
called? Yeah.
I don't even know what they do anymore.
Inside Xbox, right?
Inside Xbox. Yeah.
It's way too long. It's just for a bunch of nothing. But if they could streamline that along with how they do the directs and state of plays throughout the entire year, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, one question I want to throw out to everybody here is, what are the odds that we see the Xbox 2? I mean, do we really think that we're going to literally see someone walk on stage and hold the latest giant VCR next week?
Yeah, I think they are. I think they're going to show demos for it, personally.
Do you really? Demos, yes. But the actual shell of the system?
Oh, I don't know about that.
I think they're going to show a shell of the system. I do. Yeah. I'm speculating, but I think even if it's a rough prototype, I think that they want to physically have something, or they may do the thing again where they just hold up a controller and be like, the next generation of Xbox.
Yeah, Phil Spencer with his t-shirt saying 14 teraflops instead of 6 this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. That's like, man, it's like, would it be revealed there and then released this year, or would it have to be revealed now and then next year? Because I like what they did last generation, where they straight up, both Sony and Xbox, they revealed new consoles the year of, and they just came out. I just love that so much, and I don't want that to go away. But everything changes at some point.
Well, I think the only reason they might show the actual box, or at least a prototype, and they might even say, hey, prototype, not final, is because we know they're talking Project xCloud. Yeah. And they want to remind people, hey, we got you. Like, you love the Xbox One X? Guess what? We're coming back. And, remember those rumored, not the rumored, like the actual specs from the PlayStation 5? Yeah, here's ours, and it's better, and here's our box.
That's exactly why
it's like, we're going to do xCloud end of this year, early 2020, we're hitting you with this. We'll hit you with all the final thing. We'll do another event later showing off even more of the launch lineup and all that. And they'll tease you with technology and cross-gen games and blah, blah, blah. But again, that's the only reason why I think they might show it as kind of a smarter tactic to not scare people with the cloud stuff. Because Phil Spencer seems like he's a pretty smart guy. And I think he knows there is some backlash to game streaming. And the only way to counter it is to be like, hey, we're not just streaming games.
Yeah, and Sony just released a bunch of information on PS5, so that Microsoft's chomping at the bit, especially since they're losing sales so much so to Sony and now Nintendo. They're all gung ho about this next generation. They've been talking about it since last year, so I think they're gonna show some demos and be like, look what we can do. It's the best graphics ever. Here's Cyberpunk 2077. Here's whatever. Here's Halo. Yeah,
you like ray tracing? Here's all of it.
here's ray tracing. Bleed your eyes out. Best graphics. Exactly. That's
every
what
other
we're all
setting.
about.
Every other setting's low, but who cares? It's pretty
Yeah. Okay, let's get into ray tracing for the next systems.
Here we go.
Okay, listen now. I'm on an 18-core processor on my PC, and I have an RTX Titan. And when I play Battlefield, I get at 4K. Okay, I get below 60 frames a second.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that
all
bad.
the time. And even on the other PC that I have with the 2080 Ti's, I mean, I have two, but I only have one hooked up because SLI is, you get micro stutters and shit like that. So it's just horrible. So even with a 2080 Ti, 11 gigabytes of GDDR6, the Titan RTX has 24 gigabytes of GDDR6, and you can't get a steady 60 frames a second on Battlefield. Am I talking the right game about Battlefield?
Battlefield.
Yeah, you're talking about one. Yep.
Right.
And you're playing at 4K, right? I imagine that has a lot to do with it.
4K HDR because I have a 4K HDR monitor. And I'll go down to like the 30s. And you have to play on 1080p, which is not bad. I mean, it still looks good, but how many is the systems? Are the systems going to have ray tracing cores, or is it going to be software based?
You'll have to see what they reveal at the show, because we haven't seen anything from AMD's actual plans for ray tracing yet. So we got to actually see it first to know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we don't know how AMD's tackling it yet, and I assume it's using also the new PCI standard. So that might make a big difference as well.
That's right. Yeah, more bandwidth, right?
Yeah.
4.0.
Yeah. But
no, mostly PC for that PCI bandwidth is going to be mostly used for SSD and NVMe SSD drives with the throughput on them. You know, that's the load time issue. That's what they're going with, the load time issue. It's going to be like 5,000 megabytes a second. That's a lot. So I mean, most drives now are a max of like 3,500 megabytes a second. So with PCIe 4, which I'm assuming they're going to use, since Sony's touting, sub 1 second load times for open games. Do you think with that it's going to be, with all these new gen games like with the ray tracing and everything, do you think the load times are really going to be sub 1 second for all these games, or do you think it's just going to be for previous gen games?
I think my guess is everything is still going to be 1080p. I think that there will be some 4K stuff, but I think the main thing they're going to be trying to do is cut all load times down to under a second. Now, this is pure speculation, but I just think that could really be the next gen stuff, is being able to, like, if you can get into Grand Theft Auto 5, which I do believe they'll probably throw on the PlayStation 5.
Like everything.
If you can drop in there in less than a second, if I literally press X and in less than a second I'm in a co-op party, now that is a feature that looks good in trailers. So I think they're going to try and push stuff like that over the idea of like, this is 4K.
Well, I know that that load time for Red Dead Redemption 2 is awful. That on PS4 Pro,
you're dead.
It takes forever, man. So if I could get in that game in like less than 5 seconds, oh man, that'd be just like so much better. And also just overall, the cutting down the loading in general. Horizon Zero Dawn, games like that take way too long to load that first load up. And as far as ray tracing is concerned, it's up to them. They're touting it themselves, so they got to impress us to buy their consoles. So we got to see it.
Here's the thing about ray tracing too, and I don't see a lot of people bring this up because everyone just talks about Battlefield 5 because that was the showcase game. I don't know that we've actually seen developers really take full advantage of what ray tracing can do, because Battlefield 5 already had a lot of issues on its own before it even had ray tracing. So using this older engine that wasn't even built with the intent to do it, they kind of tacked it on top and tried to do all these impressive things because EA was trying to make Battlefield 5 relevant when it wasn't really relevant anymore. And anything that has to do with EA and them being the showcase for technology, I really question if that is even representative of what actual developers using ray tracing from day one are going to be able to do.
Because we know how much of a pain in the ass Frostbite is to work.
I
agree.
Good lord. But what other game's going to have ray tracing?
Minecraft. Have you seen that demo?
I did see that demo.
It looks good.
But the PC version of Modern Warfare, I watched Digital Foundry's video on it. And they got like a little behind the scenes footage for it. Not footage, but they got to take a look at it, and they said they're planning to do ray tracing to the new engine. And just in general, that's just me wanting to say I'm excited for Modern Warfare, whether it has ray tracing or not.
Is it really a new engine though?
You never know with Infinity War.
Yeah, you never know.
That game needs a new engine.
Well, and also,
Does it-
a lot of people don't understand the term engine. A lot of us misuse it. Like everything is an old engine. Like almost everything is building on the bricks of the previous building. So I think that it's probably 60% the old code with a lot of new stuff on top of it. But man, I went back and played the Modern Warfare Remastered
Me
a
too.
couple weeks ago. Oh man, that was raw. And we kind of forget, we like pretty up in our brain, but you realize, oh yeah, the old code was bad.
Yeah.
It
You know,
really was.
I actually played the original Modern Warfare a couple weeks ago on my PC. It's still a fun game.
It
Oh,
is.
yeah,
It
it's
is.
a lot of
Well,
fun.
lot of hackers, but other than that, very fun.
Modern Warfare 2, I've been playing that on my PC. It's a lot of fun. The campaign's still great.
The campaign's great. Yeah.
Edgy.
It's really good. I love what they're doing with this new one. It feels like it's more grounded back to like what the original Call of Duty 4 was, where it's not like no jetpacks for one, but also Russia's not invading the United States and stuff. And it's like it's really trying to tackle really serious topics with modern day terrorism and stuff. I've heard rumors like it is actually now set in 2019, whereas the original Modern Warfare were always set like 5 years in the future. It's still they still call it modern, but yeah, we're looking forward to it.
But I want my slide to double jump to jetpack move though. What happened? Come on, man.
I'll be honest, I know I'm the one person in the world. I loved that garbage. It was terrible. I would go across the map in like 2 seconds on my ass, just slide. It was so stupid.
But there is a place for that though. Like put it in Apex Legends or Titanfall. You know, there's a place for that.
Yeah, dude, I liked it in Titanfall, but when they added it to Call of Duty, I was like, this isn't as good. This game wasn't.
It was too fast.
No,
I'll pull it, dude. It was too fast. Like every map felt like it was like the size of this remote because you were just,
it was bad.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I guess when you call a game Advanced Warfare, or I mean, you kind of expect future tech, but it's. I mean, when they make a Call of Duty after Call of Duty after Call of Duty, and it's in every single game, 1 year after the other, and it's the same thing. It's like I just can't put the disc in my system and bring myself to play that game over and over and over again. It's the same damn thing.
Yeah, I only get Call of Duty I think once every 3 years or something like that. It just. And plus, you dedicate so much time into it, and then 6 months later, it's like, oh, it don't matter. Next one's coming.
After what I heard they're doing with the campaign on this, I'm definitely picking this one up.
I am too, and that's surprising because I swore I would probably never buy another Call of Duty game again, and I'm surprised that that I'm actually willing to fork over $60 and not more than $60.
I wonder if we're in a weird period here where we're starting to change generations and all this stuff, and there's been a lot of just crap from a lot of these developers this gen, just in terms of how they've been monetizing games, how they've rushed them, released broken games, where I'm wondering if a lot of them are like, hey, look, a new gen's coming, we need to restore faith, because we're seeing like, what EA has said a lot of nice things about the Star Wars game, right? And if that stuff comes to fruition and the game ends up being fantastic, that's EA trying to actually get back a little bit of credit. And I think that's what we're trying to see with Activision. We're like, look, we hear you. You guys have been complaining. Like, we thought we fixed it last time, and we really didn't. We made things worse. We did that. Here, we're going to take like the best we've ever done. We're going to reboot this bad boy, and we're going to try to do right by all you guys. And if they pull it off, again, that restores faith. And then you're not going to get that for the next 5 years. They're just going to get them going back to what they were doing. But I think that's an interesting point, just that I've just noticed this in general. And I know, like, obviously I cover mostly Nintendo, so I don't see a lot of this on Nintendo's side, but a lot of these third-party companies have been just milking people this whole gen for subpar experiences. And I think this E3 is exciting to me, because I think this E3 is when we're going to see, you get the Final Fantasy VII Remastered finally after, what's it, 5 years? It feels like it's been forever since we last saw it.
They announced it 4 years ago.
Yeah. See, I wasn't that far off. That's all.
Yep.
Man, I was a much different man. I was in my mid-20s then.
Hey, Vince, I got a message from somebody saying that you're streaming it it's only showing you on the screen. It's not showing all of us flipping back and forth. Just let me know.
So yeah.
There's a way
what
to
you got to do.
Easily,
I think you have to click on yourself, double click on yourself, your own little thing, and that'll fix it. I think. I don't know. Nobody wants to see my face anyway, so I don't really care.
Yeah, there is a setting for it somewhere.
While you look at that, I want to play off that what we were talking about. I think part of it is just the fact that we're at the time now where developers have the greatest understanding. Towards the end of every generation is usually when some of the best stuff comes out. Like, I wasn't the biggest fan of the first Uncharted, but Uncharted 2 was crazy, and Uncharted 3 is pretty freaking great. And then Alan Wake is seriously one of my favorite Xbox 360 games of all time.
I love Alan Wake so much.
Yeah. You could tell that if you compare Alan Wake versus some of the launch Xbox 360 games where people were all like bulky gorilla character models because they just didn't really have the tech down, I think it's just one of those things where people are getting more experienced with it. Now, I just think it's one of those things where we're seeing everybody make better games now because, quite frankly, it's easier to make better games.
Camera's working now, Vince.
Oh, he fixed it.
Yeah, it was fine.
Got it. Now we know for next time, right? We're all getting it.
Yep.
Yes. But yes, I thought the same thing too. Like, I remember when this generation started and people's excuses were like, oh, the thing we saw last generation where games will look better over time is not going to happen because it's x86 architecture. Everyone knows how that works. Wrong. Look at these games. They look so good.
Horizon Zero Dawn. Like, look at, oh my God, the game is
exactly.
And that's such a silly notion because as like a PC hardware enthusiast, you see it on PC hardware. It improves over time. So, like, why would it just not improve over time because it's x86? Like, do you not know how tech works? How development works?
People on Reddit.
People learn new tricks. There's new updates.
People on Reddit.
Yeah.
Sipping that tea.
It's what happens is that they see all the benchmarks and the hypotheticals, and then they just never move beyond it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And now we're on the cusp of a new generation, and it's going to happen again.
At least this generation won't be underpowered.
You see, consoles will.
I mean, they will.
I don't know.
Well, it's going to be better than PS4 and Xbox One because they were already like a year old tech when they came on to the store shelves, basically in 2013.
What's interesting is they're using tech that's not even out yet.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exciting.
They're going to be really expensive boxes, but you know what?
I'm sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they're both 500.
Exactly, me either. But you know what? They're still going to support PS4, standard PS4, and standard Xbox One.
Oh yeah, everything's going to be cross-gen for another couple of years at least.
Exactly.
And it looks like this might be the first PlayStation console that's going to be fully backwards compatible, quite possibly, for the life of the system, right?
Exactly.
That's what it looks like due to those patents and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm glad. So my fiance has the standard launch PS4, and it's starting to sound like it might be dying. The sound cuts out on occasionally. So I'm like, all right, just coast a little bit longer. We'll get the PS5 because the one of the rumors going around is that the PS5 will basically PS4 Pro whatever game you put into it. So like it'll be able to upgrade your current stuff and play the new stuff.
Also, the old games too. Maybe PS2, PS3 games maybe as well. You could maybe at least play them in 1080p or something.
Oh, dude, I would love that. I'm obsessed with Grandia. Yeah. I love Grandia, and I would love to all those old RPGs, man.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if Xbox can figure it out, come on, Sony.
Exactly. And somebody in the chat, our good friend Smash JT, he says, does heavy power and more tech and better computing and all that really make a game more enjoyable? Well, of course, it all depends on how good the game is, but but let's be honest, it's nice to have that tech there. Because
for the developers that know how to properly use it, they can create experiences that they might not have been able to ever create before. I mean, that was even one of the selling points that Google tried to give us on Google Stadia is, hey, look, it doesn't matter what piece of hardware you have in your house. It's never as powerful as the cloud. And that is true, but we haven't just seen anyone actually do anything with it yet.
Bingo.
So, and I think that's kind of the case here where good games are good games regardless of how great the hardware is, right? I mean, the Switch is massively underpowered already compared to current gen, let alone what's going to happen in next gen. But has that diminished how good people think Breath of the Wild was back in 2017? No, because a good game is good regardless of the tech. But the tech can let you do more things. It's all about how you use it.
And a good example of that is the Cyberpunk 2077 gameplay reveal trailer, 48 minutes, 15 million views. And it was the combination of the graphics and the gameplay in that reveal that had got me excited because you had both of it there. You had all the tech and you had the really cool looking gameplay. So it does make a difference.
Plus, you have the proven studio.
think a lot. Sorry, real fast. So to say, I think that graphics are also game developers are able to use graphics for new styles of storytelling that were just impossible. Like, man, I've played through God of War. I played through God of War for a review last year, and then I beat it again recently, like a month ago, really slowly this time on easy to just look around. And there's just so much subtle animation, like when he's about to touch his son, and then he like realizes, no, I have to be like a tough father in this moment. And you can see like just literally the like individual veins of his hand as he's like recoiling and like closing himself up. And it's one of those things where it's like that is PS4 storytelling. So I will say graphics may not affect gameplay, but they can affect story.
And they can add a lot of emotion to the scenes, I think, is what we kind of get out of that. Because especially for the games that go for that realistic look, well, a lot of emotion in humans comes from the subtle movements. You know, that look like it's like when you look at someone and they're looking at you, you can tell just by the eyes sometimes what they're feeling. And like
exactly,
that was unthinkable, 10 years ago in the gaming industry that we could even see that in a video game.
Exactly. Oh, we got some typing going on.
Sorry.
It's not me, I don't think.
Clickety clack.
It's Maxwell over here. Whatever his name is.
I bought the loudest keyboard I could because
mechanical keyboards.
I know I write a lot. I like the sound of my own typing, so I have to mute it, or if I forget to mute it, it's loud. Sorry.
No, I agree with you. I have a mechanical keyboard, and I think I have the same keyboard Dave has, and it's not loud. Actually, it's kind of quiet for a mechanical keyboard. But yeah, they click.
I love it. I love the click clack. I do a lot of writing, and then a lot, obviously gaming, and it's just
they last longer too. They last for a lot longer than the other plastic ones.
Yep. But for the purpose of this podcast, I have out my wireless membrane Logitech from like a decade ago.
Bro, I got the Logitech G wireless gaming keyboards. They sent me to review. I'm never going back. This is like the best ever.
Nice.
I don't trust wireless keyboards. There was a time when I was playing World of Warcraft years ago, and I had a wireless keyboard. We were trying to kill a boss, and my keyboard died. I could not find another keyboard, and I couldn't find batteries. And everybody in my guild was screaming at me like, "Trinkus, God, get out of the corner! The dragon's eating you!" And I was like, "Ah!"
Yeah.
So,
the opposite of Leroy Jenkins. So.
Yeah.
That's why you got the dual set of peripherals. I got my mechanical right there, wired in, ready to go.
Yeah, I'm a single player guy, so it doesn't really matter to me that much. So.
I keep a super tiny separate keyboard so I can plug it into PS4 or the Xbox, because sometimes there are some games that actually have chatting on there.
Is it RGB though?
Come on, it makes you a better gamer. Let's go.
It does.
Yeah, it's mine's not RGB, so I guess I'll just leave the podcast right now, guys.
All your games run at 15 less FPS without RGB.
This is true.
That is a known fact.
Oh my gosh! But
RGB just makes it better, man.
Yeah, dude. My
I can't even say. Welcome to the RGB cast.
Yep, there you go.
Oh, there we go.
Nice.
There it is.
That's the same one I got, guys.
You just have to show off, right? Because my wired keyboard only has one color. It's not RGB. I couldn't afford the extra 30 for that RGB.
How much is that one again, Vince? It's like $200, right? Or 170? I forgot.
I think it went down in price, but without this, I wouldn't be able to run Fortnite.
Clearly.
There you go.
It'll win.
Goddamn.
Extra frame per second.
What's next on the agenda, boys? What should we talk about next?
Death Stranding, right?
Hey, that's in the title.
Oh, hey. Death Stranding, that's a thing, right?
Did not think that was coming out this year.
I still don't know what the game is.
Is it a thing? Baby. Is it a thing? Because I have no idea what the thing is.
Honestly, I watched that trailer like 20 times, and I feel like I have a complete understanding of the game, honestly.
All it took was 20 times.
Yeah.
Well, I watched it a dozen times, and I still...
Oh, well, so yeah, it's hard to know concretely, but my main theory, I'll run it past you, Nancy, since you've watched it a bunch too. Sure. I think that the whole shtick is going to be the fact that it's going to be like the world of the living and the world of the dead, and as we play through the game, we have to keep going back and forth. So if you kill people in our world, then you end up having to fight again in the other world. So it's going to be about basically going back and forth and choosing when you fight and when you run.
So it's like that part in Metal Gear Solid 3, except the whole game.
That's what it sounds like.
And Pixar's Coco. Excellent.
Yes. Coco, of course. You got to stir in a little bit of that Pixar magic.
Exactly.
Wait. So who here
in the babies?
Who here in the podcast does not know about? Who is very unclear about the game and who is very clear on the game? I'm trying to see who's who here.
I'm clear on the objectives, which is to just unite the cities in
Mhm.
post-apocalyptic America. How the apocalypse happened, I have no fucking clue.
Age rain.
Well, that's fine.
obviously.
You know, the main
Spoilers.
character is telling the president that, hey, there is no America. It's done. There's nothing to unite.
And then he pieces out.
Yeah, he's like, peace.
So the baby is used to do the helping of the collecting, correct?
Which
Right.
I have no idea what the hell. Why a baby?
Yeah.
And I think the baby, it looked like there was like something about how it also helps sense like the creatures in the other realm. Yeah.
Well, and since we see like a flashback at the end of the trailer of the main bad guy, clearly before he's a bad guy making the baby invention, I think it's going to be that the baby is the bridge that they talked about, the event that ended up killing everybody initially. They were like, "I'm going to make a baby that's dead and alive," and everybody just exploded, I guess.
Well, the creatures are pretty much like spectral dead, right? They're like
but they also
that can interact with you in the real world, right?
The weird thing about them is that if you look super close, they have a giant ghost umbilical cord that goes in the ground. So I think that they're actually still connected to the world of the dead. So it's like dead baby. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
But then you got those soldiers that you're fighting against too.
Yeah.
Those soldiers, they look like they're like the undead, kind of like
yeah.
well, kind of invincible to fire.
Somebody zoomed in, and I did not notice myself. So credit to the people on Reddit, but they noticed that it looks like the umbilical cords of those soldiers you see that look more human, those dudes look like they're connected to Mads Mikkelsen's character. So like he can literally maybe give part of his humanity to people and make it where they're slightly more physical and not just like a big blob floating around.
Wow, that's crazy.
Who knows? This is gonna be
the thing with Death
Kojima,
Stranding,
dude. Do we really know?
Yeah. The thing with Death Stranding, I don't really care so much about the story, honestly, because like I care more about what I'm gonna be playing as far as how the game it plays and everything like that. And we got what I didn't like about the trailer, and I'll be honest with you, is that it was all jump cuts.
Yeah.
So what I would really like for them to do is do a nice sit down 15-20 minute demo of a section of the game and be like, this is how you play Death Stranding, and this is this one part of the game, and then this is how they're kind of like a typical way of the game was going to play, kind of like what Horizon Zero Dawn. Like you didn't know anything about the story really. I didn't really care about the story, but the gameplay looked cool. You're like, oh, you can do this, this, and this. So I'm excited to play the game for that aspect. For Death Stranding, I'm kind of like, yeah, I see like 2 seconds you shoot the gun, and then another 2 seconds he's running, another 2 seconds he's hitting, another 2 seconds he's on a bike. Yeah, I mean, it's just not enough. I need to see a little bit more.
Yeah, the part where you're talking about where he's like running away from all these dudes fighting him and stuff, and he's like all of a sudden he's on that part. I'm like, that the gameplay looks kind of rough to me. I don't know if it's like I need to put my controller in my hand and see like if I'm gonna have trouble like playing this. I know Kojima, he's usually good at like gameplay and stuff. Like that's kind of his specialty.
You know what it reminded me of was contextual button presses. Like you like when he jump stepped to the side, it looked like it was like you pushed almost like Red Dead, where you push the button and it takes a second or so for him to react. It almost looked like that to me just from seeing how the animation was. But we'll have to wait and see, of course, when we play it.
Of course. Yeah, that's look, I just have a feeling Death Stranding, since it is the first project from Kojima without Konami's clutches, this might be like this game. I know a lot of outlets are going to give it a 10 out of 10 like they did with Red Dead, but I don't think Red Dead was a 10 out of 10 experience at all.
No.
And I don't think Death Stranding is going to be a 10 out of 10 experience either. I think there's going to be some rough spots in it. Overall, I think it's going to be a fine game, but we'll find out if it doesn't get delayed on November. So, yeah, if it doesn't get delayed, anything could happen.
Yeah.
One thing we can all agree on, though, the graphics are really good. They did a good job.
Oh my god! Yes.
Yeah, they are good. The cutscenes are amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't expect anything less from Kojima, though.
Yeah.
It's like kind of hard to believe that they're CG. Like when you see it, it looks like actors. You know, it looks like Mads Mikkelsen and Norman Reedus just like walking around.
It really does. The foliage just looks like ripped out of real life. Honestly, good lord.
They did some kind of scoping on their faces, right? for that. All their
they did. We know that because they released some behind the scenes footage, and they actually had Norman Reedus acting on his lines, basically in like a 360. You know, the 360 cameras they used in the Matrix. Well, they did that except for like basically in his body. He would like sit down in a body scanner and read his lines, and it would like digitize him. So it's one of those things where like every little micro motion of his face is just in the game.
I see.
Well, that's why, and there was that interesting thing where there was like a quote from Kojima where Kojima was saying the character is Norman Reedus. Norman Reedus is playing a character, but like if Norman Reedus later on gets a tattoo, I would patch it into the game because Norman Reedus is that character. And so it's like, that's a little bit obsessive, but okay.
A little bit too, but yeah.
And I can see why some people are not too excited about the game. There's some divide online about it. I mean, I think it's mainly because they feel Kojima has gotten like a god complex a little bit there. Like I'm Kojima, and I'm gonna make this really wacky game, and you're gonna buy it, and you're gonna love it. And people are like, yeah. But then other people are like, wait a second, I don't know anything about this game, and I didn't really like Metal Gear Solid 5 that much. Like you got those guys out there who are thinking like that, and I can see that because they do want to see more of what the gameplay is to really know exactly what they're playing. It's kind of I can see both sides.
Like even as a Kojima fan, I will admit that a lot of this advertising is very pretentious. So I understand why it's putting a lot of people off because he basically is walking out and being like, "How do you feel about a dove that becomes a skull, but the skull is you and you're dead at dead?" It's like it's so ridiculous. It's like, calm down, Kojima.
Exactly. Like his intro at E3 2016 with all the Mad Max music and the staircase light up, and it's just like, "Hi everyone, I'm back," and I'm like, "Back."
and it also runs the danger of being so overly over the top that I end up just not caring. You know what I mean? Like, okay, now you've gone so far out there. Now I just don't care.
I love it. I love it. This is Kojima Unchained, and give it to me. But I've been waiting for like his whole career for him to disconnect from that company and just someone to be like, "Do what you want. Here's money."
Did you ever do any of the secret Easter eggs in Kojima hides himself in games? And one of my favorite ones in Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, if you talk to the different soldiers at base, one time someone was like, yeah, I heard you can find God in a truck. And there's a mission where you actually have to search a bunch of trucks looking for like this missing kid, and purposely one of the license plates says Kojima, and if you look into it, Hideo Kojima is there, and Snake actually goes, "Mr. Kojima, what are you doing here?" It's like
I remember that was so good.
I think he was in Metal Gear Solid 5 as well.
Yeah, he was.
Oh yeah,
he was in both. He was in both Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain, but he was basically just had to rescue him. And at the end, he would be like, at the end of Ground Zeroes, he'd be like, "Snake, what took you so long?" And then he would look in the camera. Good God, I kind of met him at E3. Kind of like me and my friends were in this hotel room because we had an Activision appointment. Not hotel room. We were in the lobby at that point, and then we saw Kojima like walking towards us, and we were like, "What do we do? What do we do? What do we do?" And then I just said hello, and he was like, "Oh, hi," and then he walked away, and I'm like, "Oh, Daddy."
Hey, QuakeCon. I went to QuakeCon last year. I go to QuakeCon every year.
Nice.
And, last year they were showing off all the stuff for Fallout 76. So I was up in the press area, which is like upstairs, and like working on their little like press Wi-Fi and uploading stuff. And Todd Howard walked in, and I'm not even joking. Todd Howard is like this tall. He's like a little teeny tiny guy in a leather jacket, and he had like 5 giant bodyguards. And he walked in and just started like eating a taco, like.
Like a rat.
And I was like, "Oh my God, Todd Howard, I love your games." He's like, "Thank you," and just like.
Wow.
So he'd make me feel normal. All right.
Yeah, that actually a good hotel, good E3 hotel story. I think.
I've heard this story. Yeah,
maybe I've. I don't remember what year it was. It was over 10 years ago now. It was E3. It was either 2004 or 2005. We went to the new Otani Hotel and Gardens. That's where we were staying. The hotel it's still there, but it's a different hotel now. You know how they change names every year. But it was a Japanese style hotel. So I was in charge of booking the hotel for my crew, for the crew, and I'm like, "Oh, this sounds like it was a good rated hotel. It was clean. It was upscale. It was only like half a mile away from the convention center, and So we're there. E3 goes by. We're in our, I think, second to last day there, and we're standing outside, and Miyamoto walks right into the hotel. This was after the convention, after E3 was over for that day, and he walks straight past us into the hotel. Just doesn't say a word. Just walks by. We're like, maybe he's visiting someone here. And we're like, oh, wow, okay. So we were told everyone don't approach him, act professional, whatever. And it turns out we were staying on the same floor as Miyamoto the entire time.
Did you hear some Pikmin going around in his room?
Right.
And we were like,
and this is why during E3 I read the newspaper outside the door.
Right. I was at Acon last year. I was staying on one of the higher floors. We got one of the bigger penthouse ones, and had 15 people sleeping in there. So it was $80 each, just because it was cheaper. Well, when we're walking out at one point, we're going out. And it's Saturday night, and everyone's drinking and having a good time. We walk out. All of a sudden, we see one of the doors to the main presidential suite, and the door opens up a tiny little crack, and this dude walks out and goes, "All right, nobody gonna freak out, right?" And I was like, yeah. And so we're all there tipsy, and the entire cast of all the voice actors of Overwatch and Diablo and all the main Blizzard voice actors for the last couple games were all there as a celebrity thing. So they went downstairs to an autograph signing, and we got video of them walking out, and they all had a shirt of their characters. So it's the Lucio and Mai and all them walked out yeah. And it was just and everybody did freak out.
Of course they did. How could you not? Honestly.
Hey, were you at E3 2016, Joey?
Yes, I
played
was.
Breath of the Wild. I was there, and Miyamoto and Aonuma walked literally right next to me, but I couldn't say hi to them because they had two bodyguards, get out of our way type of thing, because they didn't want to have any part of anybody talking to them there. I think they were on their way to go do some kind of behind the scene little interview or something like that. But they had to walk through where the Nintendo Lounge was. So I was right there getting my shirt that I played Breath of the Wild. So
yeah,
that was fun.
Funny.
I was like, that's you. Okay.
The three, I didn't really meet any big game devs there at that year, but I did meet the Chocolate Rain guy, Tay and most random thing ever, John Heater. If you don't know who John Heater is, he played Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah.
I looked at him from a distance, not from a distance, I was waiting in line. And then I see him, it's why does that guy look like John Heater? And then he talks. He's just oh yeah, we were playing Oculus. And I'm just it's John Heater. So that I took a photo with him. It was great. It was fantastic.
Well, duh.
Yeah, that's kind of the fun of E3. I do want to go someday. I only go to the stuff here in Dallas, just as we do have some stuff. We had DreamHack the huge esports tournament was this weekend. So yesterday I was there just watching all the super celebrity esports people that I don't know, and they'd walk out and everyone would just lose their minds. And I'm like, I have no idea. That's just some random redhead guy. I have no idea.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm the same way.
No, E3 is a lot of fun. You should definitely go.
I will not be. Unfortunately, I won't be going this year. So.
Well, I mean, I know you're not going. I mean, Max, he should definitely go sometime at least.
Vince and I have actually talked a lot about plans or something. We want to try and do something together one of these years, and I do want to try and go next year, just because I feel like it might start shrinking from here on out. Maybe.
Yeah.
I want to see it while there's still some water in that puddle.
And next year would be a good year to go, because everything.
Next gen
games out the ass. So I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised if Sony's back next year just because they're launching that.
Sure they will
they'll be back.
Yeah.
They'll have so many games to show. They'll have to be back. Yeah.
They'll be we're not going to let just Xbox dominate the next gen talk. Let's go.
Sony is known for just except for these past few years, but I feel like when in 2015, 2016, and of course 2013, their conferences just blew up the entire show, with the announcements. It's just at that point I was just thinking, guys, why can't we have why can't other people have conferences as good as Sony's? And then 2017, 2018 happened, and I'm like, why?
Yeah. Well, last year they had Spider-Man there, and that was that was crazy. You couldn't hardly even get a chance to play that game. It was a lot of people wanting to play Spider-Man. So if they're there, they definitely have a big showing.
Exactly. Yeah. Totally.
Well, I mean, okay. So, I mean, speaking of E3, it's what, next week now. So,
Crazy.
Man.
I mean, I guess let's start off with let's start off with Microsoft.
Let's do it.
Since Sony's not there, let's start off with Microsoft. We'll leave Nintendo last. But okay. I know they're going to be showing next gen. I mean, that's obvious. I mean, it's pretty much a given. But
Yeah, how much of next gen they're going to show is the question.
Mhm.
That's what I think.
yeah. What do you think of their first party offerings this? What they're going to show this year? I don't expect any first party offerings this year, but
I mean, Gears 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know that.
besides the standard offenders, but
I think there's going to be my theory is there's going to be 6 main Xbox games. I think it's going to be Halo, Perfect Dark, Fable reboot. I think we're going to see some stuff like Gears 5 and Gears Tactics, and then like Forza. And I think that they're going to make a big deal. I think half of those are going to be cross-gen and be Xbox One and Xbox 2. And I think the other ones are going to be Xbox 2 only, and they're really going to like blow them out and show you like this is the next generation of Fable. This is like, oh my God, like you could punch this kid and it'll go tell its parents, and then you could punch the parents.
Man,
Advanced AI.
Yeah.
very bold of you to predict a new Forza game. Just saying.
Well, Phil Spencer put out there that they were going to have 14 Xbox Game Studio games there.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I mean, some of them will be smaller.
I'm sure some of them are going to be.
But they bought all those studios, so you wonder how much do they want to tease from those studios that isn't going to come out for a couple of years.
Yeah, I think they're going to try and keep it as centered as possible. I think the fact that it's 2.5 hours makes me think it might be just a bunch of random stuff. But I think that the main point of it is going to really be trying to just be like, I think they're going to come out and right at the start be like, all right, here's the new Xbox. It's called this. It's going to be out next year. Here's some games and what they look like it. And then I think they're also going to be like, oh, here's some other crap.
Well, I think the only reason that I think there could be some more is because the big knock on Xbox is where's the exclusive content?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you don't have it. And they've been buying all these studios up. Now you have Phil Spencer saying we have 14 to show. I don't think it's going to be 14 big AAA, but I think it's going to be more than people think because everyone just expects them. Oh, okay. Well, think about all the things you just talked about. That's stuff they always do.
Yeah.
They got to show off stuff that they don't do.
Well, but Perfect Dark's going to be new.
Well, Perfect Dark is a big one. Yeah.
I hope they show that.
I hope they do too. I mean, 2020 next year, and then that game's set in 2020. So,
yeah, and as far as I'm concerned, I think they'll show what Max said. The Perfect Dark, I hope, Gears, obviously, Forza, and Halo Infinite, and but I do think they're going to be having a lot of AAA third party reveals.
Yeah,
because that's what they did last year. They did a whole bunch of new third-party games. Devil May Cry 5 they had last year. They'll do something similar this year, and I also think they'll do like a new updated demo with Cyberpunk.
Oof.
Oh, guaranteed.
Well,
guaranteed.
Right before this, I was reading an article that I don't think they're going to show too much new of Cyberpunk, just because it sounds like they're still super heavy in development phase and it takes a long time to make a demo. I think we're probably going to get an expanded version of the demo we saw last year, which I'm okay with.
They
just a reminder that it's here.
Yeah, and they confirmed that it's not going to be playable at the show either.
Yeah.
But they did say they would be there, right?
Yes, they said there's. I think they're going to do another behind closed doors demo, not closed doors, but yeah.
Any AAA studio that doesn't have a press conference is showing their games at Microsoft's thing.
Totally.
Like it's happening. And the first major one, unless you count EA Play. So like they're gonna also potentially show off other things. Like if Final Fantasy VII Remake's coming to Xbox, that would be a big announcement to happen at Microsoft's thing. You know, stuff like that. Like there's even gonna get stuff that's in other people's shows. So that added extra time that they have over last year, I think it's totally because there's no competition to have these games shown off.
Right.
I agree. There's no Sony there, so there's going to be a whole bunch of new AAA games they got to show, and where else are they going to show them? You know, unless you do it on Nintendo, but you know,
you guys want to take any bets? How many times they say this game will be best on Xbox?
Right,
take a shot,
best on Xbox One X.
Well, they're gonna avoid because that was such a meme last year. How they'd be like world exclusive trailer.
Oh
And
god.
it was
I'm like, are
every-
you Jeff Keighley? This is the
every-
Game Awards.
yeah, everything said like world exclusive or like Xbox for. It's like stop saying that every time, and then it's like
Yeah.
this dishwashing simulator. It's like I don't care. You
I will
say it.
only excuse it if Jeff Keighley was hosting it because then I get it. That's his thing. That's what he does.
And
Like-
Jeff Keighley tweeted out something today. He tweeted out a poll saying, "What do you expect to see at Xbox's show a week from now?" And one of the it was a poll, and it was just like new games. I forgot what the other two were, but another one said an appearance from Sony or Nintendo on that stage. Like, what do you know something, Jeff? Like, what's going on here?
Why, he's connected. He's good
New
at
Game
building the
Plus.
hype, so you never know. You never know.
New Game Plus.
No,
Exactly.
no, they're going to show off the new Pokeball Plus.
Plus.
Now
Sleep
compatible with
edition.
Xbox.
Well, what do you think they'll put Master Chief and Smash Brothers on the stage there?
Yes,
I-
exactly.
Ooh,
That would be an insane announcement.
If they revealed the second part of the fighter pass at the Xbox conference, everybody would just be like, "What?"
What if
Exactly.
no, they reveal Master Chief in addition to the Master Chief collection coming to Switch.
Duh.
wow!
Because they're
that would
already
be
gonna have
amazing.
people hype for Halo Infinite, obviously. So it's like, hey, look, we're not just giving you Master Chief.
Picture
We're
this.
also gonna
Oh, go
we're
on.
gonna
I'm
melt-
sorry.
No, we're gonna milk that collection and throw it at Switch because hey, guess what? You don't have Call of Duty, so here you go.
I'd buy it. I'd buy
Now,
it right now. in cash.
What would be Master Chief's Smash Ball move? His ultimate smash.
The rocket launcher.
Yeah.
Smash.
The Spartan teaser.
Yeah.
The BFG 9000 for some reason.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they got to have Doomslayer in there.
Exactly. They really do.
Or Scorpion. They got to bring some Mortal Kombat characters in Smash.
I love how nobody said. I love how we haven't talked about Banjo yet.
No, they're gonna port in like one of those user made levels and just have a semi fly out.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, in chat said they'll have a live demo of Pokemon Sleep. That's pretty good.
It's just a dude. It's just Phil sleeping on stage for 20 minutes.
On a bed just for 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Straight up.
they
I
get out
wouldn't
the
be mad.
they
But
get
I
out
don't
the,
see. Yeah, go
the
ahead.
couch. So they bring out the couch from the Nintendo Switch reveal for some reason.
Oh my god.
But in all
Oh.
seriousness, I do hope they have, if they could pull it off, a Mortal Kombat character in there, like Scorpion or Sub-Zero or something.
Totally.
They might be able to put Sub-Zero in there.
They really
It's
could.
not impossible. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they have M-rated characters in Smash already. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
Scorpion versus Ken. Sub-Zero versus Ryu.
That is legendary.
Get over here.
Hadouken! Yeah. That's great stuff. Do we think Halo Infinite's coming out this year? Or do you think that's a next year game?
I think it's
know.
2020.
I think it's
Okay.
2020. I think they're gonna try and do like what they did with Titanfall 1 and try and release it a week apart of like Xbox One and Xbox 2 a week apart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're going to
I
Breath
think
of the
that's
Wild
right.
that game.
Oh, yes.
At this point, you gotta.
Just do it. Nothing
So-
sells consoles like Halo.
Well, there's no
What-
reason to put it on the original and not the new one, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What was that, Vince? I cut you out there.
Honestly, Halo, I never saw. I know the appeal of it, but I used to play first person games like Quake, the original Quake, Unreal Tournament professionally, and
Mhm.
I just don't see what made Halo so great compared to those other games. Is that
The console side.
Consoles.
just because it was on a console? I mean,
Yeah.
It was the
Straight up, that's the reason.
So I used to do tournament level Halo 1 play. I earned hundreds of dollars on that for years and years and years. And the big thing was it was just the first completely multiplayer focused shooter on consoles. And oh my gosh, did it take off like wildfire? Because a lot of us that were really, really poor, we could have 5 people that pulled together enough money for an Xbox. But in order to understand building a computer and setting up a LAN and all this, it was one copy of the game and one Xbox and 4 controllers. You could play that for months, if not years. So I think it just took off because it was the low income entry point to competitive shooters.
and
Well,
easy
I
to
agree.
use.
You didn't have any of those OG Xbox LAN parties?
Yeah, all the time. Those were
Dude,
so
I had a
awesome.
ton of those. Those were the best.
But you have
Those
to
were
remember
the best.
the timing of it too, Vince. In 2000, Perfect Dark came out in N64, and a couple years before that, GoldenEye. A lot of that fan base from N64 went over to Xbox and played Halo 1 LAN parties, 4-player multiplayer, and then they actually I think they had they would connect their consoles together, all that kind of stuff.
You had to have a hub.
It was
Yeah.
it was like this natural progression from Perfect Dark to Halo. I remember it so clearly. I'm like, man, why can't we have this on the GameCube? And it was just such a lost opportunity on Nintendo's side.
And if you came from Nintendo's era, we're used to link cable, so it was like the same thing.
Yeah. Well, and it was so easy. It was just
It really was. It was plug and play.
We had those LAN parties all the time. There was a time where we were playing Halo 1 and we were all so good at it, we ended up having a 3-hour stalemate of capture the flag. So we ordered a pizza. The pizza came like an hour later and we were still in the stalemate. So we decided to call a truce and everybody set down their controller and all sat in the living room eating pizza, being like, I'm going to shoot you in the fucking head, you motherfucker. It's so fun.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we just don't have game experiences like that anymore as adults for some reason. I don't know why. It just doesn't happen.
But I mean, that's why Halo really became like a big deal, though. Like, yeah, we were already doing this on PC, right? Like, PC LAN parties existed, Quake and Unreal Tournament, big deals. I mean, Doom. I remember Duke Nukem was a big deal at the time for a little bit, especially when people modified it to play multiplayer. But it was one of those things that, like, PC gaming really wasn't nearly as big as console gaming at that time. And not a lot of people could afford PCs. Not a lot of people could afford the high-speed internet, the dial-up internet, even at times, to be able to play those games online. Like, I remember I used to play Age of Empires and stuff online a lot. And it was exciting when we had a lobby with 200 people on it. But then you log on the OG Xbox and you go on an online game and they have like 200,000 people. Yeah. Like, there's just so many more people that were trying to play because it's just affordable. It's simple. It's easy. You just put the disc in and play. And that's what's kind of ironic about today's generation is now it's like flipped.
Yeah.
What's split screen anymore?
Well, if you're Nintendo, you can't even play with your friends anymore online.
Right? What the hell is that about?
We'll get into that.
But they give you a split screen. Yeah, they're still living in the 90s. It's all right.
Give me a break.
You're killing me.
It's okay. I literally put up a video blasting them for that.
I think all of you have. I don't know about Joey, but I know Dave has. Yeah, I know Max has. I watched both of them, and
that video got me called entitled like 30 times. I'm like, that's cool.
Of course.
Oh, yeah, the Mr. Entitled guy on Twitter.
Yep.
Who's that guy?
Oh my god,
I
forgot his name.
I'm so entitled because I want basic online featers.
Yeah, I hope that guy learns a lesson from the crap he posted. Honestly,
we're all entitled because we pay money because we want to have fun. You know,
seriously.
I mean, like, come on.
Well, I knew they were going to screw something up after what they did with Mario Party. Like, how do you finally, after all these years, add online to Mario Party, and you can't actually play Mario Party? Yeah, you can play like a handful of mini. Like, no, that's not what we want to do. We want to like get online with our friends and play the board game. How could I play Monopoly from Ubisoft online with friends when I can't play Mario Party? Like,
what's funny is the Mugen, what is it, Mugen 64? I use the weird thing where it's like an emulator for Nintendo 64 that actually has online capabilities. There are servers, and I can now play completely efficiently Mario Party 1, 2, and 3 better than Super Mario Party. Like, what?
Weird.
Yeah. I'll tell you this. I don't know if any of you guys remember X-Band, the modem for Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, yeah.
That was a 2400 baud modem, and its service has more features than Nintendo Online.
You can play with your friends?
You can play with anybody you want to. Friends, randoms,
all that stuff.
Everything. You could message people.
Well, I mean, that's just fair.
Like, on the NES back then, yeah, they had
almost every Nintendo system since the internet has been added to it has had better online. Almost like and it was free. So like even when you were missing features, it's like, yeah, I'm not really paying for it. So it'd be nice to have, but whatever. But like we literally had an entire social network for free last gen and we can't get messaging. So
I even think about we used the Wii browser a lot because we had one tiny computer in my first apartment. We had like 7 people living in a tiny 2-bedroom apartment, and we had one computer in the back room that there wasn't really anything we watched on it. So if we were going to have people over and like watch funny videos on the internet, you would pull up YouTube on the Wii on the TV. It's like it's the fact that like there's less browser functionality on the Switch is crazy.
Metroid Prime Hunters, Mario Kart DS. All worked online with your friends, no problem on the Wi-Fi connection.
Voice chat on
the had voice chat too.
Inbuilt voice chat.
What the hell, Nintendo?
It was like 5K.
They had voice chat back in the Famicom.
Good old Nintendo going backwards.
You can even in the Wii U, you could do video voice chat with that.
Oh yeah,
They didn't support that very long, but yes, they had.
Hey, Grandpa, I need help.
Hello, Reggie. Hello, Reggie.
Like, well, by the time it came out, everyone was Skyping and doing the FaceTime stuff. So it's like, yeah, this isn't as good, but hey, hi.
Really?
And Nintendo needs dedicated servers because, like I said, on X-Band, Mortal Kombat 2 ran better with less lag than Smash Brothers does now.
Well, that and yeah, I've heard some people were sending me messages today that Mortal Kombat 11 on Switch went down for like 7 hours or something. Mortal Kombat 11 on Switch only, just because the peer-to-peer networks were like glitching out, and since there's no dedicated servers or anything that they can rely on from Nintendo, they just had to shut it off. So everybody, like, if that was your day off and you want to do online matches, well, guess that's just not happening.
Isn't it a combination of poor netcode on Nintendo's online in general, guys?
Yeah,
not just peer-to-peer, because I think PlayStation 4 and Xbox One on fighting games, they do peer-to-peer still, correct?
Yeah, and they're pretty buttery smooth.
And they were fine.
Yeah, dedicated servers aren't going to fix the problem right away.
Yeah, dedicated servers is more for other kinds of games, like
first-person shooter,
like a Splatoon.
It's clearly just some of the netcode. So I was at PAX South earlier this year, back in January. At one point, I was in line to play Days Gone demo, and it was like an hour-long wait, which whatever, was part of the job. So I'm standing there, and I got out the Switch and played Smash Brothers, and a bunch of people in line next to me all were like, "Oh, we got Smash too." So as a joke, we made a lobby and all started trying to play together, and it just was so laggy next to each other because they're trying to communicate literally from one system to another in an area that had a bunch of different Wi-Fi devices around or whatever, was totally glitching it out. That was super slow just because the net code of trying to communicate my button presses and their frame rates all together was totally weird.
Wow.
How would it be without? I mean, like if you were in your room, just in your house, and someone else. I haven't tried playing Smash with someone next to me in like a house.
Yeah, it was super bad, and I think it's maybe it's just the fact that literally their way of trying to program 2 consoles talking to each other is not smooth.
Yeah,
or they're just using like. I've been questioning this for a while too, because like a lot of the communication, obviously for the local stuff, is over Bluetooth, and I'm wondering if like they just used really cheap chips and just
right. Well, I can say that some games are perfect. So I've put over 100 hours now into Diablo 3 on Switch.
Sure.
With my fiance, we've never had a single bit of lag ever. So I do think it's just something Nintendo's doing wrong and not necessarily a hardware problem.
Sure. Yeah, and then you go to Super Mario Maker 2. And the reasoning they gave for that, I think that's just bogus, basically, right? I mean, there's no reason for them not to have a private match, unranked match,
because they're ranked matches. We can't have it. Like, okay, for starters, let me tell you something. Even in ranked modes on every other multiplayer game in the world, you can play with your friends.
Yeah,
like no one considers that you have a competitive. So what? Add voice chat. Everyone has the same advantage. Congrats.
Right.
Seriously. Welcome to 2019. Welcome to the 21st century.
I love you. If it's just incompetence on Nintendo's part, or if it's just laziness.
It sounds like laziness, honestly.
Well, here's the thing: a lot of this is from the Japanese. Like a lot of the games that have the problems are made in Japan, and I think they're just really closed off from what's happening in the rest of the world.
Because you look at the Nintendo Switch Online videos from Nintendo Japan, they're not barraged with dislikes like every other country's videos. So whatever they're doing is working in Japan.
Because in Japan, they're like, "Oh, we didn't expect this anyway." Wow.
Well, well, and like you could even though, like if you just look at some of Nintendo's games that aren't made, in Japan, they seem to do like Metroid Prime Hunters, just as one example. It's kind of like that wasn't made in Japan, and the online and that was fine. It was great. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things where I just think Nintendo EAD and that whole Nintendo Japan branch, they just don't pay attention to anything that's not them.
But you remember back in the day, they used to say you could only play online with your friends, but not with random people. We want to protect you.
Yeah,
they were all about that. Now it's like
that's what the friend codes were for.
Now you cannot play with your friends, but you can play with randoms. Great.
Friends are dangerous. You know, friends they make you smoke.
It's ass backwards. That's what it is.
Well, mind blown.
The thing is, well, I don't know if you guys know, there was actually lawsuits that happened against Nintendo in Japan because people were sharing their friend codes, right? They're sharing it online with people, and there were guys creeping on minors, and that started a lawsuit in Japan, and that just scared the crap out of Nintendo in Japan. And I wonder if they're just, we don't want to do this stuff because we don't want to deal with the repercussions that every other company's already figured out how to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have the problem of playing online with random people, and say you have a good match with somebody and you want to continue that match. You can't do it again the next day. Because if you add them as your friend, you can't play with them.
But that also means they can't creep on you and stalk minors.
Say you play a match with Pro Jared, He goes,
he goes, I'm sorry, I was gonna make a crude ass joke.
Do it.
He sends you a friend request and you look at his profile picture and it's just a dick pic. You're like, Jared.
Oh, Jared. Who else but Jared? Oh, jeez. So bad.
One of those custom levels from Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
God, yeah.
Pro Jared. Enhanced.
You get my first podcast claimed. Oh, God.
No. Yeah, sorry.
No, they have to. I always have hope, now that hey, Nvidia's involved on the tech side. Do they ever just look at Nintendo and be like, hey, what are you doing?
What the F are you doing?
Do you want us to do it for you, or we're good? We got this.
Yeah, I mean, we have the shield. We have our Nvidia Shield. Just let us put some of that into your Switch.
Here's the crazy thing, right? They give us that Nintendo Switch Online app for our phone for voice chat, which just showed a complete disconnect. As an option, fine. As the only thing, no. But if you're going to put an app on my phone to communicate with friends, let me communicate with friends. I can't message them. Remember, you were supposed to be able to set up play sessions. That was the only thing I was excited of.
We're going to schedule. Yeah, that was
such an idea. I was like, oh yeah. When they said that, I'm like, dude, no one else has that. That's actually really neat. That I can schedule a play session, have my friends say they're going to come or whatever, a little invite, and I'm like, that's okay. That's actually a really neat feature. Never came. We have bare bones voice chat, and yeah, the voice chat sounds fine. That's cool. They're using Google stuff. Of course, it sounds fine. Well, when it works. But
voice chat for what though? What are we talking about? Fortnite?
Or voice chat on Switch when people actually tap into it.
Well, it's just, why can't I message my? Obviously, not being able to message friends at all sucks. But if I bother to install the dumb app on my phone, how am I supposed to message my friends that I've made friends with in the games? I can't.
You really can't. You can't even message them and ask for their number. I
literally have it on the app. On every app on my phone, I can text people. But the one communication app directly from Switch.
Right, yeah.
The Xbox app, I can text people.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, well, the PlayStation app has full functionality. The PlayStation app lets you look at your trophies and shop for games and look at pre-order bonuses and send messages and stuff. But, it's too complicated, I guess.
I could send myself some Splatoon 2 items.
If we're laughing about it, I wonder if Nintendo Japan is like,
oh, they're laughing at the bank. They're just like, yeah, you're this and that. Well, guess what? Smash sold 15 million, so what do we care?
And remember when the app used to shut off when your phone goes into
at
Yeah.
launch, that was bad.
I mean, like, who thinks of these things?
Well,
Serious.
and that's why at the time I totally think they made that in like 3 weeks. My cousin does bug testing for I think Samsung, and they just basically she said that they just send like unfinished code to her all day long, and she was like sort of speculating that this is one of those things where probably they said, all right, we need a cell phone app that connects to Splatoon 2 voice chat, and they're like, all right, I want a red background and bubble pictures, and I don't give a shit. Roll it out.
Really though.
I mean, some phones you keep them on for like if you want to have like a 3-hour game session, and you want to do chat for that 3 hours, you can't because your phone will die in an hour and a half if you keep it on, or not even. So my phone's a piece of crap, and it like 43 minutes if I kept it on for like it's a free phone, whatever, I don't care. So like if you keep it on, it dies. So. I don't know what they were thinking when they made that app. They just so many oversights and so many just lost chances.
Well,
just,
with your friends on Super Mario Bros. 3, right? On Nintendo Online, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, you can like invite friends to play with you on that Nintendo NES.
Well, it's not
thing.
simultaneous. That's true. You're right.
Yeah, but it's just like, okay, so I could do that. Why can't? How about the actual Switch games? Can I do that? No, no. I guess if I play Fortnite, because Epic handles that.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Epic Gamers, bro.
Epic exclusive.
Here we go. But yes.
This is crazy. There's no excuse for it. That's basically why we're so upset about it, because it's just ridiculous. You can't really make it. There's nothing there saying that they can't do this. Like, is there some kind of system limitation that doesn't allow them to make?
Absolutely not.
You can't play multiple levels together at the same time. Maybe
No.
from 4 different friends, instancing them together. I don't know.
They did it on 3DS. I mean,
yeah. If there is,
we speak.
If there is a system limitation, that is one of the biggest oversights ever.
Yeah, I don't think there is, honestly.
I don't think so either. I think it's just laziness.
So how about that PC gaming show?
All right. Yeah, right.
Let's not.
Isn't that the one that's being hosted by
hear-
a game store and everyone's mad?
Yeah, I don't. They're just sponsoring it. They've had sponsors before. I don't really mind the sponsor. I know people are mad about it. I get it, but it's whatever. Whoever has money always sponsors it every year. I don't think it's AMD sponsored it one year. Didn't really matter.
Epic is spending all that Fortnite money and getting all these exclusives. That's all they're doing. They want to get your attention.
And it's working, unfortunately. That's the whole thing that a lot of people are mad. A lot of my friends are hardcore PC gamers, and they laugh at me because I'm just a console gamer. And they're so mad about all these Epic Game Store exclusives. Like, a lot of them are straight up saying, I'm not buying Borderlands 3 until it comes to Steam. I'm going to tank the sales on Epic Game Store.
Well, you know what the thing is? Okay. Let's take the Division 2, for example. Whether you play it, whether it would be on Steam, it's not. But if it was on Steam or it's on the Epic Game Store, it also launches Uplay when you
start
the game.
Mm-hmm.
So not only do you have to launch Epic or Steam for some of these games like Ubisoft games, it also launches Uplay as well. So
I'll just buy it on Uplay.
I hate these sponsors. I hate them. Yeah.
I hate Uplay, but I just bought it on Uplay so I don't have to launch 2 launchers to play one game.
These sound like straight up. Look, I do have PC. I game on PC sometimes, but I play on console mostly just because I do. And I feel like this whole Epic Game Store thing is just a bunch of like. I'm going to sound like such an asshole right now, but I think it's just first world problems. Oh my God. Epic Game Store is a free app. Calm down.
Here's the thing. I've been PC gaming almost as long as I've been playing on consoles. Like, I've been way back. I played Gnome way back in the day. It was one of my first ones.
Wow.
Man. Yeah. That's Return to Zork back in the floppy disks, man.
I remember those. Wow.
Yeah, it was like 15 of those. That was a long time ago. That was like one of my first gaming experiences besides the NES. Anyways, I've been playing PC games forever. And one, I've never liked Steam. just in general, because I care about games. Here's the thing. I care about games more than anything, right?
Mhm.
Well, one of the reasons that Steam became popular was because Valve made games.
Mhm.
And now Valve doesn't really make games. So we lost Valve because of Steam. Now, granted, Steam was great for PCs, unified the community, made it so we got more PC games basically than we were getting. And that's great. But in general, as a PC gamer, I don't care if I'm playing on the Epic Game Store, if I'm playing on Steam, if I'm playing on Go Games, playing on Uplay. I can get all the games on one system, which I can't do on a home console. So I just don't care. Use whatever. Like, I'm not friends with anyone on these things. I don't care about any of that crap. I just want to play the games.
I don't really message anybody on Steam.
Yeah, literally. I only ever it only ever loads up because I launch a game and I bought it on Steam. So then it loads Steam.
So as a total layman, the one thing I do like about Steam, and one of the reasons I still use Steam predominantly, is that it seems like modifying files and stuff on Steam is way easier. Like when I want to tinker with stuff, like when I wanted to do the mods for Sekiro for my video of Sekiro Easy Mode, I did that in like literally 2 minutes, where I clicked buy on it, I installed it, and all the files were already there. It's just super easy.
Yeah, none of that
You
bothers.
cheated the game, Max.
Oh yeah,
Not
and
only did you cheat the game, but you cheated yourself.
I've been modifying
sorry,
PC games
go
for
on.
like 25 years. So like I don't know. Like after dealing with all the mods in World of Warcraft, everything's easy to me.
yeah, right. The add-on folder.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even buy games from Steam. I buy them from Green Man Gaming because you get
That's a
like
good one.
33% off the game.
Yeah.
But it's just a Steam code. So you have to play through Steam anyway. So it's that, Max, that's why you still use Steam, because you have to play through Steam for all these games. You buy a game from a store and it launches through Steam. It's just weird.
I own one game through like the Windows Store.
I did too. I did
One,
too.
it's like one of the Age of Empires games that they made exclusive on there when they HD'd it. Can't remember which one it was. I don't think it's exclusive on there anymore, but it was at the time, and I couldn't wait. I love Age of Empires, man. Oh.
But that's one thing I agree with you guys on, is that having multiple launchers to play a game. I don't like that. If I could just have one for everything, but it's just not happening. They keep increasing the amount.
Well, I don't like having one for everything, because what happens is you obviously have the monopoly situation where.
Well, that's true.
Valve did a lot of great things with Steam, but now it's very clear they just care about money. They don't really care. They're not really improving things for the users much anymore. It's just, how can we get the most amount of money? Like all this buying games that aren't finished, right? That was advertised as a great thing for developers. It's just consumers getting screwed.
Mm-hmm. Well, so something I'm full disclosure, I'm good friends with some of the people over at Another Indie. They're a indie studio. I talk to their CEO pretty often and stuff. They give me a lot of free games. So full disclosure. But what's interesting is they've talked publicly about the fact that the cut that the Epic Game Store gives you is so much bigger than people realize. He talks about the fact that like if they make like a little point and click adventure that's fun and interesting and has great hand drawn art, that'll take like 5,000 sales on the Epic Game Store and they break even. That's like 9,000 sales required on Steam. So you have to almost double the numbers to break even. So they're like, look, man, that profit margin on less successful games is enormous. And it's one of these where a lot of us are thinking of the huge projects like Division and stuff, but we're not thinking of the fact that little guys are able to thrive there.
And Epic is doing this thing too, where they expanded this year, where they're giving a whole bunch of money, just giving it away to indie devs. If you present them an idea, it's like, hey, look, it doesn't sell well. It's not going to cost you anything. We got you.
Right. Failure net is so useful.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, granted, I know a lot of this is just doing a lot of goodwill by devs to get everyone to support them. But I mean, to be honest, they're the ones making the games, and the games should matter more than the platform.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, it could for smaller devs, the sales cut that these between Epic and Steam could really mean the difference between staying in business and not.
Yeah.
And when you start up a company, a small games company, you have to try to make as much money as possible. You can't survive if the game doesn't sell, and a company and the company you're putting the launcher you're putting your game on takes 30% away from you. I mean, that's just like, it's ridiculous. It's no one wants to do that.
Sounds like Epic has long-term plans here. Like all that profit margin they're giving to developers, and then all these exclusives. I think they're really trying to grow quickly, and then just take as much away from Steam as they can, as fast as they can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they're trying to bum rush Steam. It's working. I mean, people aren't happy about it, but hey.
I mean, if they were a lot of the is one, they got used to Steam, and two, that it doesn't. The Epic launcher doesn't have as many features, and I think a lot of people are saying that Epic's focused on the wrong thing. They should focus on the consumer experience before trying to get all the consumers. But I think Epic looks at it as, hey, look, we have all this money now, and the Fortnite bubble can burst anytime. So we're gonna do what we need to do now, and they literally put out the roadmap to add all the features, and they're gonna do it, but they're going to get consumers now while they have money to actually toss out there.
Yeah. As long as Epic Game Store plays my games, I don't care. That's my viewpoint.
I know, like there was that big thing, where people were concerned about privacy, and I actually reported on it, and because it was crawling files and stuff that maybe it shouldn't be crawling, maybe your Steam library, and I'm just like, okay, cool. So it's gathering information. They claim they don't use it. They probably are. I'm on the internet. All my information's out there anyway. So what am I hiding?
Bingo.
That I care about anyways. Like I'm not saying that people can't care about privacy, but don't play games online if you care about privacy.
Don't be on the internet at all if you care about privacy, honestly.
Yeah.
That's true.
So are we going to talk about Nintendo E3?
Yeah. I want to do that.
Dumpster fire.
It is. I do want to say I would prefer to try and wrap this up in the next 20 minutes. I'm sorry.
Me too.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's getting late. Yeah.
It is late. Yeah, we started late, so my.
But I did put a tweet out there saying, "Hey, are we all in agreement if they don't show Metroid Prime Trilogy this at E3 that it's not coming this year? What do you think?"
Yeah,
I agree with that's a good way of putting it. Of like it's done, definitely it's done. But if they're not willing to bring it out on the biggest stage of the year, then it's just they're putting it in the oven for some reason.
Exactly. Yeah, and I was talking to Rob about this of Rulature Review. He put out a video saying if it's not coming at E3, it's not happening at all. And I'm like, no,
I don't know about that.
No, Rob.
well, my thing is they already have a killer slate, right? The rest of the year for exclusives. That this could be their new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe for January. They don't have to show it now. They can wait for a future direct. Yeah,
and they usually announce remakes and remasters and directs anyway. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all if we don't see it at E3.
Yeah. I mean, I'm dying for that. I really want to see it.
You and me
Pikmin
both.
4 is what I want. I just want to know Pikmin 4 is still alive.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So it was finished like 6 years ago.
Yeah. Well, that was the quote. Was that it was like 90% done.
90% done, and then they realized we used done. So
that's a good. That's a good one. A good joke.
Yes.
Well, they didn't want to push it out to die like Color Splash. So
yeah.
Ooh, another. Oof. Man.
What's a Color Splash?
Yeah. I don't know. Is that even a game?
That game made me mad.
Oh yeah.
It had some good moments, but it was definitely not a great way to end the life cycle.
That moment with the shy guy who like he like pours his heart out to you like in the middle of the game. He says, "I'm gonna kill you one day, Mario, but just so you know." And then like I don't forget what the monologue was about, but then later on you're like fighting some random shy guy, and right before he dies, he just goes, "It was me, Mario. Thank you," and then dies. And I'm like, whoa, that got real dark. God.
So mainly for me, that's what I'm looking for. Metroid Prime Trilogy, and if they can show more on Astral Chain,
they will.
I want to see more of that too.
Have it playable. We don't even know what that's playable for them either yet. So that's some kind of surprise, I guess. But we know Mario Maker is going to be there. I'm not really going to be waiting in line for 3 hours to play that though.
You might not have to. Warpipe Pass.
Oh, that but
they won't still let us sign up because they don't want to let us know it's playable yet.
Yeah, I mean, I just really want to know what's going on. I mean, with Metroid Prime Trilogy, man, it's been rumored since I think it was early 2018.
Yeah,
it was first rumored from I think Emily Rogers,
of course,
and then it's been a year and a half now. So
I mean, if we're gonna just go off early rumors, I mean, what's up with that Switch Pro? It's been like 3 years.
3 years.
One time about rumors.
It was rumored like in early 2017.
But what about that NX?
Yeah,
what about
when's the next coming? Yeah.
That's supposed to be a family of systems, right?
That's what they said. That's what they said.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
well, at least one of them is going to be announced this year. We know that most likely from what the credible rumors say.
Yeah,
I don't know how the mini can't come this year with Pokemon Landing. It's just, to me, it's such a perfect combo.
Yeah, Pokemon and Animal Crossing. Really,
you get a $200 mini out there with Pokemon, Animal Crossing. Like you're printing money. I don't know why you wouldn't do it. I mean, besides wanting to milk the 300 and then launch the 200 one next year, but
Nintendo's been really quiet about this kind of stuff. And they're not really saying what they're going to be playable on E3 either. So I guess we'll have to wait and see what they're going to do.
And you never know when they're going to unveil because they lie all the time, anyways.
They always lie.
When it comes to hardware, forget about it. They will never tell you the truth until it's unveiled.
Exactly. And Dave, you and I were messaging each other earlier. You wanted to bring up a point on this podcast, and I really think it's a good point we should bring up. Yeah.
We'll do it briefly since Max has to get going, but I think Joey and I agree on this. But basically, I think Nintendo needs to stop doing the whole like we're gonna try really hard for half the year kind of thing. Like 2018 and this year, it's all about the second half of the year. The first half of the year, I'm like, dude, what am I playing on Switch?
I've never heard it somebody spelled out that way, and now that you said it, oh my god, that's exactly what they're doing. That's so weird of like how they I've heard people say it about Sony occasionally where they like crouch and then attack and then crouch and then attack, and it's like well, can you do a little bit more of a punch between a punch or something? Like it's weird to just sit here for 6 months and be like, well, Mortal Kombat on Switch is kind of cool.
Well,
what, Yoshi didn't do it?
No.
Well, but I'll admit I'm one of those people. I don't really like Yoshi and I don't like Kirby. That's just a personal thing.
No, and those aren't. I mean, even if you end up liking them, they're not like big deal games. Those are filler games between big games. But it should be 6 months between big games.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a little bit too noticeable. I mean, honestly, I mean, especially this year, I'm like, dude, we're still waiting, and all of a sudden they're going to release everything at the start of the second half of the year. It's weird. Why not push something up? Or they could have had Daemon X Machina already, or maybe another game.
Well, and here's my thing: if those games aren't ready, right? Like the only way I can presume is that they're just not ready, right? Which is fine. If they're not ready, I'd rather have them be ready. But now it's like, so now you're going to pile like 12 exclusives in the last 6 months. I almost feel like maybe you should spread that into 2020 a bit so we don't have a slow start. I know that's going to upset some people because we've been waiting for these games all year.
I agree.
But they weren't spread out throughout the year. Like they had enough to almost have a big one every month, and they just didn't do it.
Yeah, and then you have these releases. So to be honest with you guys, what 2018 and 2019 reminded me of is 2015 and 2016 of the Wii U as far as first party is concerned, because of not necessarily for Smash Brothers that was really high quality, but we had Xenoblade Chronicles X in 2015 for Wii U. But anyway, it's like the amount of releases being spread out and the type of games they're releasing. Like in 2018, you had Kirby, Mario Party, Mario Tennis. These experiences are cutting a little thin there. Then you have the real big fat Smash Brothers at the end of the year. So it's like.
Oh, and the thing is, I think the first 6 months of the year is a great time to get out something that could be a big deal, but you're not sure about. Something like an Astral Chain, right?
Yeah.
Could be a big deal. Give it the spotlight. Get it away from all the other big Nintendo games and let it have its own little window. Instead, it's just packed in there with the rest. I mean, it comes out the month after Fire Emblem.
I agree with you 100%. That's a good point.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I worry about, like Marvel Ultimate Alliance, 1 week before Fire Emblem. I mean,
I'm so excited for that game, and
I am too.
I'm afraid it's gonna bomb. I'm afraid that it's just gonna have no oxygen.
And my only hope is that Nintendo is publishing it, so that means they did pay for it. So I'm hoping that they approved on the quality of the game.
Right.
That's my only
seal of approval.
It's a completely new team making it this time, so maybe there's hope. I don't know.
Wasn't the rumor that was going around at one point, and I'm sure someone will correct me in chat or in the comments later, but wasn't it that this was originally supposed to be like a 3DS game or something, and they decided to restructure it to be a Switch game or something?
Fire Emblem?
I heard.
No. Sorry, I'm talking
Marvel.
about Marvel. Yeah,
Marvel. Yeah, that's what I heard.
That this was like an older project that they've been working on for a bunch of years, and now the Switch is blowing up, and they're like, well,
it was something
dropping this on 3DS would do nothing.
Yeah, no, I heard some speculation about that where after Hyrule Warriors really blew up, they were talking to Team Ninja and I can't remember the other people who own the rights to Marvel, and they're like, "Hey, look, are you guys going to do anything?" No. Well, we think this would be good on 3DS. Look at our install base. We have a group that knows how to make a game similar, a little hack and slash kind of game, work on a 3DS. And then they're like, oh, no, now the 3DS is starting to peter out. It'll be a Switch. Oh, maybe we should move it to Switch. And I really think in 2017, the decision was made. We're moving to Switch once they saw the momentum of Switch. Yeah, I honestly think Nintendo didn't know. Nintendo had no idea if Switch was going to work. They're just look, we know the first year will be great because it's got Mario and Zelda and Mario Kart, but like after that, there's momentum maintained in between, and they just went almost an entire year till Smash Bros, proving that the momentum is maintained.
Yeah, so last year was such a slow.
Unless you're really, I mean, we got to be careful when we say it because I don't want to knock people that are really into indie games because there was a lot of great indie games last year.
Of course, totally,
a ton of them. And they always get overlooked. And personally, I always hate that. Just like I hate when people overlook games on phones because there's some excellent games on phones as well. And people just throw them aside. I'm like, look, like some of these games are better than some of these AAA. Like Anthem, there's a lot of indies I played last year better than Anthem.
It's true. So I have a new show that's coming out in the morning. I've been editing it most today, but I'm starting a new show called Cool Games You Might Have Missed. And I want to do it basically because I'm sent all sorts of interesting indie games.
Yeah, me too.
To play a bunch of them, and some of those are so creative and so original. So what I'm going to start doing is this one's all going to be about May, and there's all sorts of interesting stuff. Like not enough people are talking about Plague Tale: Innocence. Not enough people are talking about that really weird game Warlock Tower. Did y'all see Warlock Tower is basically a Game Boy game that they just decided to release on the Switch? You know?
Well, and it's funny because like Nintendo will do like the big Nindies Direct sometimes, right? But then you get all that ads, but then no one talks about those games after. It's like, oh, they came out and no one says anything. It's like, when Rad lands, is anyone even going to talk about it when it's out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, basically,
Untitled Goose Game. Everyone remembers it because it's funny, but when it actually comes out, is anyone going to talk about it?
Yeah, basically the point I'm trying to get at, it was like Mortal Kombat 11. I was very happy with how that did, leading the sales for the Switch. Yeah. First time a mature rated game has led to sales for a Nintendo console, home console, since 2005 with Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
So that was huge in my opinion. I thought it was a big news. So I would like more of that, kind of support going forward.
And it was day and date, and it ran well.
There you go. Yeah.
Hey, what do you know? It's almost like it works or something.
Yeah, it's like if you give us good treatment, we buy the games.
Look,
NBA like 2K20 is coming back because guess what? Day and date, people are buying it, and it runs well.
Yeah, so more of that in 2020. I would like to see more of those kind of things to help sales of the system, to push sales from third party, so it doesn't have to just rely on Nintendo. Because then Nintendo can take those 6-month breaks. It'll be okay because you got all these games to take its place.
I'll take that day and date Resident Evil 7 remastered. I got to admit, I've never played Resident Evil 7. I'm sorry, Final Fantasy 7. Final Fantasy 7. Never played it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was about to.
Yeah, I never played Final Fantasy 7. I played Resident Evil 7. I don't know why. Right, it was right in my wheelhouse growing up. But I was a Nintendo boy, and I was pissed back then that they left. So it was like I didn't play it out of spite all these years, and now I know it's on Switch, and now they have like the remake remaster coming, and I'm just like, you know what? If it comes to Switch, I'm getting it. I don't even want to go play the old one. I don't want to be reminded how much different this one is. This will be the game for and I feel like even if I kind of want to play it anyways, just to I sort of want to review it from that perspective of look, I'm kind of the crowd they might want to appeal to with this. People who've never played it.
You know, I was almost like that. I almost didn't buy a PlayStation because I was so pissed at Square for leaving Nintendo. I was, we were all young back then, and
I
was
playground battles.
I've been playing Final Fantasy since the NES, since the original, and when they left Nintendo, it broke my heart. And I was, as a younger guy, it broke my heart. And I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna buy a PlayStation. I'm not gonna play Final Fantasy 7. But I caved and I bought it. And I'm happy I did because the game.
Yeah, I wish I would have gotten the PS1 back.
Good game. I don't like it as much as 6. I don't think I'll ever like a Final Fantasy as much as 6. But 7 was great.
Yes.
Well, you know what y'all should have done is if you wanted to support Nintendo and Final Fantasy, you could have bought Final Fantasy 7 on the NES.
Oh, I knew you were going to grab that.
Nice. It's been sitting on his desk the entire podcast.
It's so awful.
Been waiting to bust this bad boy out.
Yeah.
So is it coming out this year, the remake?
I think it's possible. Yeah.
I think it's holiday.
If it's not out this year, I think they're going to release like an hour-long demo like they did for Final Fantasy 15.
Are you sure? Because what was it the last time they talked about it? Weren't they saying it was going to be segmented in parts?
Yeah, I think they'll do part 1 this year.
Well, and some good sources have talked over the course of the last like a couple of weeks, and it looks like they're pretty solid. Multiple sources have said it sound like it's only going to be 2 parts.
Oh, that's better. Okay,
yeah,
it's like disc 1, disc 2. I can handle that.
And I think that's what's going to put a lot of people at ease. Is it sounds like it's going to be basically everything up into the big character death, and then sort of like basically the quest for the ancient city, and then the hunt for Sephiroth.
Sure, I see.
Yeah, I was worried they were going to telltale it for a moment, and I'm like, not that kind of game. Not that kind of game. Don't do that.
Right. It'll only be a $120 game and not a $180 game. So,
yeah, from a marketing standpoint, they could release this part 1 on PS4 end of the year, and then part 2 on PS4 and PS5 next holiday.
Yeah,
2020.
And I also think that I think what they might do, it's just my own little conspiracy theory, is that we may get a third game like 3 years later that will be basically like a remaster of all the stuff we've seen so far for PS5 and a bunch of extra quests that actually roll together the wider Final Fantasy VII universe. So like the stories that are in like Dissidia, roll in the stuff from Crisis Core, Dirge of Cerberus, like put in all that extra stuff.
Well, considering the popularity of the game, I expect when the PS5 comes out, we'll get the whole entire game on PS5.
Yeah,
I think they will release the entire, even if the first part comes out on PS4, I think, and then the second part comes out on PS5, I think there will be a compilation disc or whatever.
There'll be a compilation something. I think no matter what.
Both games in one package. I think we'll get it on PS5.
And I'm going to buy it several times because I'm an idiot.
Yes, you are.
Look at Final Fantasy 15. Look what they did to that game. My God, what is it, like 20 different Final Fantasy 15s?
I own most of the versions. Yes, I own the launch version. Then they did the cheap version. Then I have the cell phone version, and then I have the deluxe. What is it called? The Royal Edition.
Royale Edition.
This is.
Do you have
Final Fantasy 15 Battle Royale?
Yeah, Royal Edition.
It's just a Skyrim all over again. I buy it on everything.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
You got the ghetto version for Switch?
Yeah. Here's the thing. I don't have it now, but I did own it at one point. The thing is, I never. I don't want to say never. For the first 3 years that it was out on PC, I didn't add any mods to the game because the way that I try to play games is I kind of want to get through them and just see what's the original vision.
Yeah. Same.
And then have your fun. And I enjoyed the original vision. Like I have a lot of people tell me, oh, how bad Elder Scrolls Oblivion is. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I played the hell through that on 360.
Yeah, what? I've never heard people say that's
because they say it's only good with mods.
Dude,
and I'm like,
no.
Shimmering Isles.
I'm like, it could be better with mods, sure. Everything can be better with mods, but I'm like, it's an all-time classic, man. It's like Baldur's Gate for me, man. Like you're never gonna tell me that's a bad game.
I think it still has some of the best DLC of any freaking game ever. The Shimmering Isles thing, the whole like the Fields of Madness, like oh my god.
Yeah, so I don't know. So about Nintendo. Anyone excited for Animal Crossing?
Hell yes.
I am, but I want to see it. I like Animal Crossing a lot, but it's one of the things where I can't get hyped about a logo. Some games
I want to see something.
I want to show me what the town looks like. Am I gonna have to run for mayor? Do I have to kill the old mayor?
And they've kind of like the last few tastes of Animal Crossing, because like New Leaf was great, right? Absolutely. But then we had like Amiibo Festival. Like, all right, we have like the little plaza thing on Wii U. Like,
the sequel.
This is okay, but
the Switch version is Amiibo Festival too. You know that, right?
No, watch it. It's Switch Plaza connects with the 3DS.
Well, speaking about getting hyped for just a logo, I mean, Metroid Prime 4, everyone got hyped for just that logo.
It's been so long at that point.
Yeah. I think it was just people wanted to know mainline Metroid's coming back. It didn't even have to be Prime.
Because we were asking if Metroid was even still alive at that point. Animal Crossing was just like, okay.
Yeah, as an example, if they threw up a logo this E3 for something like Star Tropics, some people would go nuts because we haven't seen it since the NES.
F-Zero, I'll go crazy for that.
Yeah,
especially, yeah. When it's just
Pick-
been something that's been so long. I know like Metroid's not a good comp because we've had Metroid games like on every gen besides Wii U, but
Exactly.
And the N64. Yeah.
yeah, and 64. Yeah.
So considering they just started Metroid Prime again, how much do you think they have done of that game? Do you think they literally are not even they're still in concept, or do you think they're actually starting working?
Well, I think they have something they could show if they wanted to, because they made a demo to show Nintendo in the first place. That was the rumor out there. So like if they wanted to show it, they could. But Nintendo is very careful about that kind of thing because the public reaction to Metroid is almost bigger than the amount of people that actually buy the game. And they don't want they have so many different games coming this year that I don't think there's any chance of demo or seeing anything of it anytime soon. Because I don't think personally, I think they've been working on it for at least a year at this point. I think it was sometime halfway. Yeah, like halfway through last year, I think is when they kind of like, okay, we got to reboot this thing. We got to figure something out. This isn't working. Because Nintendo's not going to throw money away for years and years and years on a project that's not working. I hope not.
You never know.
I don't know. Probably half the games they got on Wii U were that way. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I actually really love the Wii U library. But
So do I.
But,
it's so good.
Color Splash was probably like the only one where I'm like, yeah, but it's been that way with Paper Mario for a while. So
Yeah, Color Splash and Star Fox Zero I didn't particularly like.
Star Fox Zero was okay if you played co-op. It was really fun as co-op, but I mean, most of us that play Star Fox don't play co-op, so I.
Oh, yeah. I mean, have we got anything else to discuss? Or I think we're good for that.
I think that's good for episode 1, right?
That's good, man. That's a good.
I was actually
show.
going to read my thesis on Metroid 5.
Okay.
Buckle up, kids.
Right.
No, that was great.
I'm gonna break down for you guys why the Super Nintendo is the greatest console ever made.
Oh,
In a rap.
Yeah,
I
let me
agree.
wrap my top 100 SNES games quick.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
No, that was a great show, Vince. Good job, man.
Thanks. I appreciate all you guys joining me tonight. It was fun. It was I was nervous at first, but it turned out really good. So I want to thank you all for coming. I want to thank everyone in the chat. And all right, guys. Hopefully we'll do this next time. And you all have a good night.
So long. Farewell.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.